Hey everyone, welcome back to DemDMs. My name is Fox Ghost.
I'm Panda Ghost.
And I'm Matt.
And today we are discussing what to do if you are a beginner DM like me. So if everyone's ready, let's slide on in. So I guess the first thing to ask is, what do you worry about? Pretty simple. First thing is learning the rules. I know it sounds kind of obvious, but just learn as many of the rules as you can, read as many of the books, online things you can, because you are the judge, jury, and executioner in some instances.
Yeah.
You are the one making decisions, what your players can and cannot do. So you really gotta know when like the player says I want to do this, you gotta know whether that's feasible or if that's even a rule to begin with. As well as the rules itself, you should really know what your players are playing, so their class, their race, any abilities they may have from anything, what magic items they have, because you gotta know that, say they try and use a second wind or something, but they've already expended it and haven't done a long rest, and they try and use it again or something, you gotta be like, hey, you already used that.
Yeah.
So you really gotta, make sure your players are playing by the rules. So
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember that, especially for like a lot of new DMs, you're also probably going to have a new party, like new players. So like they're expecting you to know the rules. You're running the game, so you're the boss. You need to be the one that knows all the.
Yes. And then as well, so the other thing you gotta worry about is reading the campaign as well. So you've read the rules, now you gotta read your campaign. Gotta know what monsters are in there. You gotta know what maybe traps, things that you may not be able to discern if you don't read it ahead of time. Say you're flying by the seat of your pants, you're just reading through it quick, you may miss something. For example, one of the campaigns I ran in 3.5, was it Scourge?
Scourge
Scourge of the Howling Horde. There is a room where it's just a curtain, over the doorway. I forgot that curtain is actually trapped when you try and open it. Totally forgot about that. So when someone ran in, I totally forgot about the trap, and yeah.
Yes, and we also highly recommend running a pre-written campaign for your first your first game. Like
that will make it
world building for your first
easier.
game will make it very difficult.
Yeah.
Not all. So, reading your campaign that you're running, make sure you also select a campaign that both you will enjoy playing, or running. Sorry, that you will enjoy running as well as your players enjoy playing, because we haven't experienced this really, I don't think. Oh no, maybe the one time, where the DM has this great idea for a campaign, but players don't find it enjoying and just kind of F around, don't really do what the DM wants to do. And that sucks for the DM. And likewise, if, you're running a campaign that you don't necessarily enjoy running, then your players are going to realize that, because you're probably going to be low energy on it. You're not going to try as hard, maybe. So you just want to make sure you find a balance between what you want to play, or what your players want to play in, and what you want to run.
Yeah, and if you want to hear more about like our thoughts on like session prep, which is a big proponent for, reading all this stuff and everything like that, we actually did a video a little bit ago about session prep. So feel free to go and watch that video as well and see, little tips and tricks we have for doing that, especially for new DMs. It's very helpful.
Right. And the last point I want to make about the core things you need to worry about is, where are you playing? Are you playing online? Are you playing in someone's basement? Are you playing at your local library or something? I don't know. Where do people gather these days? I don't know.
And be sure to look at our previous video on online versus in-person D&D. We'll have a card up in the top or something like that.
Yeah, and that should also help you kind of determine what would be best for you being a new DM, for what kind of session you want to
run. Yep. And going off of knowing what kind of game you want to play, there's more than one resource you gotta have ready as well. Obviously, as Fox said, you gotta know the rules, so you're gonna need a PHB, right? That's pretty simple. On top of that, you're always gonna need a DMG. That's gonna be huge. Even though you get most of the rules and everything that you're running in the campaign book and from the PHB, that DMG just has a lot of little things that you might miss between those two things.
Yeah, it also has a lot of useful tools for a new DM as well, like things to make random dungeons and stuff like that. So for a new DM, just kind of keep that in mind. It's not necessarily a necessity, but it's definitely a helpful tool.
Right.
Same thing would be like the monster manual, right? A lot of the starters kits and things like that a lot of people start with have a lot of the monsters put in that book. But if you get anywhere beyond that, you're probably going to need the monster manual at some point.
Right.
Or at least some sort of online digital copy of the monster manual that you can kind of reference for your own game.
I would say if you are a new DM and you don't have a whole lot of money, you can get away with skipping the monster manual, right? Like you don't need to. Hopefully the campaign that you're reading has running through has a whole bunch of different monsters. And maybe have a list of them off to the side. So you need to throw something random at your players. Well, maybe pull from that list because that those monsters that you have in the book are going to fit within that campaign setting, right? So you can just reuse them as long as it's not like a boss monster or something. That would be a little weird, but
yeah, and limiting your monster pool for like a encounter table, kind of like what we did, a couple videos ago. You should check that out to kind of look how to make an encounter table, so that way you can narrow down the selection of monsters you're going to be pulling from as well.
Yeah, the random encounter video, yeah. We're just shamelessly plugging here, guys. Honestly, that's what it is. But all of those things are very helpful that you've said, as well as to Panda's point. A lot of monsters and stat blocks and stuff like that you can find online for free. It's just a matter of, if for whatever reason you're running a pre-made adventure or something like that, a lot of those don't expect to have to tell you what monster can do because they expect you have the monster manual or some copy of it. But yeah.
And then lastly, I have a couple of extra books published by Jeff Ashworth. We're not paid by him or anything like that, but I love these books. So if you do have the extra money to spend on these books, I recommend his Random Encounter book.
Ooh. Yes, it's very helpful. I enjoy it greatly.
His non-player character book.
This one is alright, but I like it still.
And finally, his Traps, Puzzles, and Dungeons book. I actually haven't had a chance to read it, but hopefully I'm going to enjoy it just like I enjoy the others.
And I don't have that one. Soon, guys. Soon, I promise.
But then on top of all that, obviously you're going to need the book for your campaign, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that brings it to the big question, what game are you going to run? Right? A lot of people that are starting with 5th edition are starting with the starter set, right? Easy enough. Makes sense. It's in the name. The starter set comes with a pre-written adventure called Lost Mines of Fandelver. It is by far one of the best low-level adventures that WotC has put out. It's great. I love that thing to death. I've run it multiple times and multiple variations of it, and it's great for new players and new DMs. It also, they also have other things out there like the Essentials kit. is not that great. But if you're a little bit more wanting to have just the fun of fighting different things and experience a bunch of different short little adventures, it's great for that kind of thing. If you're doing like a one night test of with your friends for D&D to see if you even like it, it can fit that purpose. They are coming out with a new starter set shortly here, and that one should be similar to the other two kits. With what all it comes with, but it also is going to give you a little bit more options in terms of different classes that some of the other ones don't have the rules for in the set. So, if that's something you're interested in, pay attention to the news out there and see, what makes sense for you to purchase. But most of them are coming at the idea that both you and the players are new. So it's going to hold your hand a little bit, right? It's going to tell you the story. It's going to try and reinforce things so you kind of remember them. And it's also going to give you tools for when you're actually sitting down to play with your players. And I cannot stress it enough. This is a buy. I honestly got to say, before the player's handbook, before the DMG, before the monster manual, buy the starters kit, see if D&D is even right for you. And if you're the person that your group has kind of said, you're the DM, you'll be fine. You'll hopefully be able to use these sets to help you kind of create a seamless game for your players and hopefully get you into the hobby. And then you can buy the rest of the hundreds of material pieces that you want to buy after that. Yeah.
The last point is consider running a Session 0 before your first real game. If you want to hear our thoughts, stay tuned. We'll be coming out with a video on that and other surprises shortly. Be sure to subscribe, sneak attack that notification bell. Smiting that like button will greatly be appreciated. So as always, join us next time as we slide into DemDMs. Bye.
See you guys.